The news now. The last couple of days has seen some crazy weather across the country, from Delhi facing a thick haze of dust and severe pollution levels not seen since last Diwali, and Uttar Pradesh hit by the 7th fatal storm in just 6 weeks. This thanks to 3 disastrous weather systems currently in play. And Divya Wadhwa, my colleague, is joining us for the latest on this crazy weather that we're seeing, and of course those spiking pollution levels here in the National Capital Region. Divya.
Very absolutely right. These winds are coming in from Rajasthan. They are strong surface winds which are picking up the dust from the soil and dumping it all across Haryana, Punjab, as well as areas of Delhi going across to Uttar Pradesh. So the situation is looking very, very bad. If we take into account PM10 levels, which spiked at 823 points, which was on the 12th of June, which is when they had the onset of this storm. As far as these dusty winds are concerned, from then on we've seen that the pollution levels from 823, that was day before yesterday, they went down to 803, and today they're coming in at 760. So this slight tad bit improvement, but this is still in the severe category as far as pollution PM10 is concerned. Now people don't really get perturbed as far as PM10 is concerned. It's also dangerous, and people are not very worried about dust. They think it's not harmful, it's not toxic. But when dust is mixed with toxic substances, which is coming out of sources like vehicular pollution as well as biomass burning and industrial pollution, so all this in combination is very lethal. This, of course, the dust becomes a carrier of all those toxic substances. In the past, from the 12th of June, we've seen that pollution levels of PM10 in 50% of the monitoring stations. There were 19 monitoring stations. Out of them, 50% recorded over 1500 micrograms cubic meter of PM10. That is 15 times above the safe limit. Of course, 248% was the rise in PM10, and about 110 times was the rise as far as PM2.5 is concerned. The PM2.5 average over the last few days, I tell you that from the 5th or the 6th of June till about the 11th of June, before the onset, the pollution levels were in the moderate category. From the 11th, the pollution levels in fact went into the poor category around 296, and then since yesterday we've seen that pollution levels have been over 400 points. They were 445 the day before, yesterday 431, the severe category. So even the smaller particles, PM2.5, are going into the severe category. The situation is going to start improving only from today evening when the winds become calmer. Right now the wind speed has been about 35 to 40 kmph, which is why the winds are very, very strong, and they're bringing in all that dust. Now when the winds will become calmer, the dust and the pollution content will go down. By tomorrow evening, we're expecting some sort of solution to this massive problem, but overall solution needs to be taken into consideration. We need to increase the green cover, the greening effect, and of course that forestation needs to be protected. Those forests really need protection, and of course that afforestation will be a vegetative barrier for this pollution. Now let's take into account what Anumita Chaudhary from CSE has to tell us about this pollution problem.
Delhi right now is experiencing a massive dust event. Westerly wind bringing dust from all over Western India, the northwest India, and that's really making the particulate matter pollution peak. And the levels that we are seeing right now, they're really all-time high for this summer. We need immediate action to suppress dust. We cannot do anything about the dust coming from outside. We really need to implement graded response action plan, the action plan that has been designated for severe plus category right away.
First, the capital is buried in a thick haze of dust caused by winds coming from Rajasthan. In fact, air pollution in the National Capital Region have hit levels that are normally only seen in the peak of winter. Then in UP, 13 people are dead as a result of storms caused due to a collision between westerly and easterly winds. In the northeast, 6 people have died in floods caused after the monsoons, and in Kerala, 4 are dead in post-monsoon flash floods and landslides. While the intensity and extent of the damage caused post the monsoons this year have taken many by surprise, the fact is that this cannot be seen in isolation. Factors range from the warming of the Arctic earlier this year to local mismanagement and poor urban planning.
Air pollution across the north, especially in the capital, is worse than the smog after last Diwali. This is mainly dust from Rajasthan, but it's worsening concentration of man-made pollution as well. The safe healthy limit for PM10, that is largish particles like dust, is 100 points, but today it's coming in at 812. Yesterday, touching 823, 8 times higher. And PM 2.5, the microscopic, largely a result of man-made pollutants, is 7 times higher than the safe limit. While summer dust storms aren't uncommon, the length of this one is unusual, say officials.
These are not unusual kind of activity. This is a very common, normal type of activity which occurs in the pre-monsoon season, just before the arrival of the monsoon.
In response to the crisis, Nitin Gadkari set an ambitious target of 2 years. Ironically, the LG, who held an emergency meeting, announced a 3-month-long tree plantation drive to control dust. This while the government is cutting down almost 4,000 trees in South Delhi. Doctors and parents are alarmed.
More than 300, you have to take precautions. You don't have to. It is not a time to go for a sightseeing or walking. You need to take precautions. But because the levels of pollution are because of the dust, you may find the same level of pollution inside your home also. So indoor pollution may be as bad as outdoor pollution for the next 1 or 2 days.
Kids can't go and play in the park, and there's so many things that we cannot go out only nowadays. So yeah, we're planning to leave the country because there's so much pollution. Because with small kids, doctors are telling, if with the kids at this age, if they're breathing this air, by the age of 30-35, they'll have lungs problems.
I play cricket and football, and from past a few days, I am feeling the pollution level is quite high in Delhi, and now I'm not able to play it because the bad air is reaching my lungs, and I am not feeling quite well.
The dust will clear out by Saturday morning, says the Met forecast. Until then, steps to avoid pollution would be try and wear a mask as much as possible, try and stay indoors as much as possible, and definitely avoid any form of exercise outdoors. Use water to clean your houses, especially while you're sweeping your floors.
In the longer run, this will require massive breeding effort and protection of forests. In the national capital, reporting on the pollution levels, this is Divya Wadhwa for NDTV.